All right, today's gonna be kind of a halfway screw off day. I don't have a whole lot planned other than getting that hay baled, moving some equipment. This morning here, we're gonna get the duals off the tee and get the baler hooked up so that it's ready to go this afternoon. Then we're gonna get the head put on the 7300 and run that over to Mom and Dad so that it's ready to go for this week. So we can start working on that, and then bring the 4150 back and stuff it back in the barn. And then after all that, I'm probably gonna try to get the yard mowed because it's needed mowed since we got back from Rantoul and it ain't been done yet. Get this lamb's quarters out of here. One of these days I'll get the groundwork finished around the barn. Although I think what I'm gonna do, what I might do, at least up here, I've got that limestone and it'd be nice to have a spot to park to set the loader stuff. I don't know, I thought about putting limestone here maybe and over there. Lily, what are you doing? Are you trying to get under that door? Poke. I guess she can fit. So anyway, yeah, I don't know exactly how I want to go about that, but it'd be nice to have some sort of something to put them on. That way the weeds don't grow up through them and whatnot. You don't gotta do any weed whacking or anything like that. Just spray it with some weed killer and forget it. The other day I pulled, there was some tall weeds growing behind the slider down there in the bank barn, and they were bugging me and I didn't think nothing of it. I just reached down and grabbed a hold of them, yanked them out. Yeah, they were stinging nettles. Oof. I paid for that for about a day and a half. So, lesson learned, next time you go to grab a weed out of the ground, which I never thought about it. There had never been any nettles there before, and it was just growing in a crack in the concrete. I didn't think nothing of it. Just, yeah, nope. So I think for now, I'll just lean the duals up against the wall here. I'll just have to find a block to get to back up on to get weight off the tires. So give me a minute to see what I come up with. You'd think with all the scrap lumber I got laying around here from various projects and whatnot, I'd have at least one hunk of 4x4. Apparently not. Lily, look out. Lily. We're still working on her equipment awareness. It took Teeter a minute, so we'll get Lily there too. Okay. about the DeWalt Impact over my dad's Milwaukee. I think in the end my dad's Milwaukee's got a lot more, probably has a lot more torque than this thing does. But the thing I like about this versus his is on his, it's got the automatic torque sensing where if it senses it doesn't need to apply so much torque, it rams itself down. This doesn't do that. It just, you put the torque setting on and then that's the speed it runs, and I like that better on this one. Okay, duals are off. We'll pull it down in the concrete behind the barn so I can lay under it. I gotta slide my drawbar out because I slid it in for tractor pulling, and now it's gotta come back out so I can hook the baler up to it. Because if you leave it in, the PTO shaft is too long. And what is that? Oh, I lost my, kind of forgot that was on there. I lost my display sign from Rand Tool. Part of it's still up there. Alright, now we just got to get the baler out, hooked up, and it's ready to go. Shouldn't have to grease it because I greased it when I got done baling straw. And it's got an acre, a quarter of hay on it, so it ain't even made it to a service interval yet. I tell you what, I wish that little thing had an odometer because we ran the wheels off of it down there at Rand Tool between me and Shelly. I think we put, all said and told, probably 6 tanks of fuel through it in 4 days. She is a little thirsty, we found that out. Ran it out of fuel Friday night. We were coming back to the camper, and I mean, we got from here to, yeah, what's a good, probably here to the barn from the camper, and just bam, I'd like to shut the key off and looked in the tank, and it was bone dry. So we started filling it again, or topping it off at noon every day. But luckily one of the field marshals was driving around and saw us pushing, and he picked me up and took me to the camper to get fuel and brought me back and made sure we got it started okay. And that's why I love that show. There's never a shortage of help when you need it. They're just a good bunch of people down there. Thing that I probably need to prioritize getting done is getting concrete poured in that hole to make life easier. I couldn't get it done this summer because we kept getting too much rain and you never got it to dry out. Now that we're kind of back in a dry spell, really need to get that cleaned out and get it filled up with concrete. So many projects, not enough time. Okay, we're all hooked up, ready to go. Should have plenty of twine. Oh yeah, we got plenty of twine for what I gotta do. That's a little moldy. Guess I should have cleaned that out. Oh well, what I'm gonna do is, just to make life easier, because it sucks when you got that much of a bale in there and then you gotta clean all of it out, pull the twine back through, you end up with a ball of twine. Basically what I'm gonna do is when I get rolling, I'll trip the knotters and make that a mini bale, and we'll just pitch that off into the woods after we get going. But anyhow, that's part of one of the downsides of storing this thing in a damp barn basement is that happens. But anyway, I guess now the next thing to do is get the 7300 out and get the head on it and get it moved. Okay, get her warming up here. There you go, mice have been in here. I need to put a key switch on the list too, because that thing's been acting goofy. Okay, I definitely think I need to, well, I guess I don't know if it's the key switch. I guess I don't know if it's the switch or the button. It could very well be the button. It started that the last day of cutting wheat. It did that to me. I guess we'll have to do a couple simple continuity tests to make sure that these two are doing what they're supposed to be doing. But the more I was thinking about it on the way over here, the more I'm wondering if it's the solenoid on the starter. Because that would explain why you have to bump the button a couple of times. I bet you, I don't know. Like I say, we'll have to do it won't take more than a couple continuity tests to make sure that these things are firing right every time. And if it's not these, it's the starter on the, or solenoid on the starter, which that's a, this is a 72, so how old would that make it? 30, 50, 51 years old. Wow, this combine's 51 years old. And judging by the fact that the paint on that starter, none of this has ever been broke. I'm guessing that starter's never been off, and judging by the fact that the starter's still green and the solenoid's still green, I'm guessing that's all 50-year-old electrical components. So if that solenoid's bad, it wouldn't, or going bad, it wouldn't surprise me. All right, figured I'd top this thing off with fuel since it's here, and that way it'll be ready to go. So yeah, and I guess a quick story time while I'm here and it's fresh in my mind. So if you recall yesterday when I was explaining what all I had going on, I had mentioned that we had to I had to bring a code reader over and check my sister's car out because it was throwing a engine code. It was a P0011 diagnostic code, which on at least GM vehicles was a camshaft position solenoid fault, saying that the camshaft was over advanced. Because that's those, obviously we're into the area of variable pitch timing and all that bull crap. So Dad found a sensor. It was, or a solenoid. It was $60. It was real easy to change. It was one bolt, and you unplug the wire, and it's right in the top of the valve cover, and you slide it out and slide it in, and it took like 10 minutes, if that. It started giving her an issue out in Nebraska, where she lives. She took it into the Chevy dealer out there, and they charged her $158 to read the code and tell her that the code just needed reset. And then she didn't get 50 miles into her trip back home, and it was throwing the code again. I swear to God, dealerships are nothing but organized crime. There's a reason that I have absolutely zero desire to ever buy a brand new vehicle through a dealership. There is just nothing good that ever comes of it. They are all, I don't care what brand they sell, I don't care where they're at. All automotive dealers here anymore just seem to be complete and utter garbage when it comes to service. Just terrible. And I couldn't even imagine how much they'd charge her if they actually would have changed that solenoid. It probably would have been a $500 bill through them, at least, for a 10-minute job. Guarantee it. But that's my rant for it. Like I literally bought like a $35 code reader off of Amazon a while back because I needed one. So, you know, you got a $30 tool that can do, you know, the basics, and you change a $60 sensor, you're not even at $100, and it's done. And like why is it because you're ASE certified? Yeah, go blow me. There are more videos online of ASE certified technicians completely and utterly botching repairs than there ever will be of well-versed shade tree mechanics that have dedicated their lives to learning how things work. It's just I don't know. Anyway, we'll get this filled up, move it back home, because nobody cares about my rants for the day. So, in a minute. Well, there's that. Peter refused to get out of the seat, so this is how we drove over here. Oh, now you get out of the seat, you goob. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to get the yard mowed, and hopefully by the time I get done with that, we can go check the hay, and if it's done, we can get hay baled. Okay, I got the lawn mowed, got the lot mowed. Ran over a ground hornet's nest while I was mowing back there by the power pole, so this evening when they calm down, that thing's going to get nuked because I don't want those things around. Thought I was going to bag me a woodchuck because I was down here brush hogging, and I looked up just in time to see one slinking over into the garden, and he was in there eating on the tomatoes, and I stopped and left the tractor running, and he stayed there and was happy eating his tomatoes, and I jumped off the tractor and ran around the front of the barn, went around the front of the house and came in the backside so he couldn't see me, and apparently in between then and by the time I got my shotgun out and loaded and got back out here, he went back in his hole. And it must be a big hole because I tried flooding him out, and I let the garden hose run in there for long enough that I went back to mowing and just kept an eye on it, and he still never came out. But I let the garden hose run on that for at least 30 minutes and water never came out, so I have no clue how big that hole actually is. But anyhow, we'll nab him or her or whatever another day. We got hay to make. Alright, we're all unfolded, ready to go. I just got it. Got to trip the knotters for this dummy bale. And we will reset the counter. Already set my bale tension, so that should be good. Alrighty, here's hoping nothing goes wrong.
I'm beginning to think I should have bumped them windrows and gave them another day, but I don't know if that would have done any good with all this humidity. I mean, they weren't super wet, but they're tough. I had 3 knots slip on me. But I mean, the windrows were dry to the touch till you baled it, and now they are, and you put it in a bale and it's just tough. I don't think it's going to be an issue. We just won't stack them that tight. Might go get a bag of salt and salt them and stack them on end, and it should be okay. But this humidity we've been having here the last few days has just been not very copacetic to making hay. And this humidity is supposed to carry right on through the week until we get rain, and it doesn't do it a damn bit of good to get rained on. So, and being in between these trees and getting that half getting sunlight half the day and this half getting sunlight half the day, and all of it only getting sunlight around noon, it doesn't help none either. So it is what it is, but it should be just fine. I wasn't too scared of it. So anyhow, Shelly already obviously took the bales off, so I'm gonna get folded up here and run down to the house and help them unload them things, and we're gonna call her a day. So I guess that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Real quick, I figured I'd actually show you the hay. Only ended up making 17 bales. It sure seemed like there was a lot more out there than that, but is what it is. Like I say, it's not wet. It's just, it had this surface moisture crap on it, and it baled tough. But you know, you stick your hand in it, it's not wet, and the surface moisture that was on it is already burned off in the 15 minutes it's been in here. So I think it's just fine. I just think it's the humidity. Like, it was dry enough to bale. I think it was all the surface moisture from humidity. So I think I'm over freaking out about it. I think it'll be just fine. I don't even know if they need to salt it, but we stacked it on end just to be sure, and it stacked loose. So, but I think it'll be just fine. So anyhow, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Also, that's not my hay. That was from the previous guy. So yeah, not mine.